Hello, everyone. I am with Rhonda Goldberg, founder and CEO of Au Naturals Flavored Snacks. This is Behind the Scenes with the Universal Women's Network, where we speak with women-owned businesses that have built their businesses. We take you behind the scenes. We talk to the women from concept through to building their business. We talk about their challenges, their successes, and their wisdom. So if you are a leader, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a professional, I guarantee this episode will be loaded full of inspiration and wisdom and get you motivated to pursue your dreams, build your careers, or build your business. So welcome, Rhonda. Before we get started, we're going to try something different today. We're going to do a Facebook Live. So I'm going to pop open that button. And now we're recording. And I think in the green room, I kind of fluffed my hair up a little bit, but that's all part of the charm. It's relatable. Hi, everyone. My name is Monica Kretschmer, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Universal Women's Network, and this is Behind the Scenes. Today, we are in conversation with Rhonda Goldberg. She is the founder and CEO of Au Naturals Flavored Snacks. Really excited, Rhonda, to have you here today on our first episode of Behind the Scenes, behind the brand, Behind the Scenes. And I just want to say congratulations on being a women-owned certified. So you're now a official Universal women-owned certified business with us. And how exciting this is. So this is a brand new campaign that we have. We can see all of your marketing and our Universal Women's Network behind the brand advertising. But people are dying to know from you how you started your business. So Rhonda, welcome.
Thank you, Monica. Yeah, it's been an exciting journey with yourself and your organization. And how did I start my business? That's a great question. My background is in food and dietary, so that's what I went to school for in Calgary. And when I was growing up, I was a very sick child. So I was very sick with asthma and lived in oxygen tents for months at a time. So to me, eating was not enjoyable because I could barely breathe. So as I grew a little bit older, I started to incorporate foods. Foods was always an issue in our family. I was a very picky eater. So when I was old enough to get some more education, I took a dietary course here in Calgary, and I got educated on food nutrition. So after I did that, I decided I wanted to make a difference in people's lives with creating better for you snacking options. And it really started when somebody very close to me passed away, which was my father, and his last breath was my first breath of trying to make a difference in people's lives. So he fought with cancer and he was diabetic. So it was really important for me to create something in memory of him, but also for my fight of survival. So Au Naturals is actually a story of a life in a bag. And what happened after my father died, I decided that I want to make the difference. So I created snacks with bananas, and bananas are #1 bought fruit around the world. And if you ask somebody how they like a banana, it usually you'll have 10 different opinions on how they like their banana. So my banana chips, I made banana chips at the ideal stage of the way I like them. And when you taste our banana chips, they taste like a smoothie in a bag. So smoothies was something that I grew up on because I didn't really like food. So my smoothies were made with raw eggs, a banana, strawberry quick mix back in the day, and milk. So when you try the strawberry bananas, the Au Naturals, it tastes like a strawberry smoothie. Our chocolate tastes like a chocolate smoothie. Our natural tastes like a natural banana smoothie. And then I incorporated, because we have 2 palettes, a sweet and a salty, I created basically it's a French fry in a bag that's quite crunchy, and you can put on salads, yogurts, not yogurts, salads, use it with hummus and incorporate it into your everyday life. So really that's how I started.
That's a short version. And I'm sure that, any entrepreneur watching this right now goes, this is the shiny piece that we see. We see the beautiful product on the store shelves, the idea where it came from, all those years of, going to school, figuring it out. And, so I have to ask, what were some of those biggest challenges that you had, as you start your business? I mean, I want to know, like, we're talking behind the brand here. Like,
Yeah.
where did you start to figure this out? You have a concept, you have an idea. What was one of the first things that you did?
Well, the first thing I did was to, look at the grocery stores and see where I could fit in, because the snacking category is extremely competitive. And when I first started, because we were always shopping at Safeway, we didn't have a lot of choices as grocery stores growing up, but Safeway was always there. So I went through the Safeway stores and I looked where can I put my products. So basically you look at where you'd like your products to be placed, whether it be in a produce for our snacks, produce, or down a grocery aisle with potato chips. And because our packaging is quite, it's smaller than a potato chip bag, and it's for the gourmet shopper, I thought, well, we might be lost down the chip aisle and the snacking aisle. So I started my business, I placed it in the produce aisle. And my first meeting, usually it would be somebody's last meeting, I went after the Safeway store and the buyer, and I said, I have a product, it's a prototype product, and told them my story. That I let them, basically I took what was in their store and I brought it to a meeting, and I said, do you mind doing a taste test for me? And I showed them the banana chip, which was a hard, crunchy banana chip, coated with sugar. It's made with a green banana coated with sugar. And then they add banana flavor to bananas. So I thought that was a bit crazy in itself. So, because bananas are naturally sweet. So I asked the buyer if he enjoys eating green bananas with added sugar and double the amount of fat. And he says, not really. And then he tried what he carried and then tried ours, and it was a world of difference. So basically, through his tasting experience, he started to take an interest in what I was talking about. And instead of just selling him on the product, I got him to buy into what I was doing, because he felt that there was a need for a gluten-free, peanut-free, better for you snacking option. And the banana, there's nothing unique to the ordinary banana chip, so I wanted to make it different.
And it was
he was my first customer. He believed in me.
The electric. we had a stop goal here. It was like the banana.
Banana. So I just, I think what you have to do is find somebody that believes in you. And I just happened to be at the right place, the right time. I chose my right partner, and he really wanted to see this come to market. So he said, if you produce this, we will buy. And, that's not an ordinary meeting. And I then found out, after we had this conversation, that his assistant buyer had a gluten intolerance. So there was a vested interest, because they liked the product. They knew I was talking about how to solve a solution, a gluten intolerant solution. And some people have a peanut allergy, and plant-based is big right now. So I think if you actually do a market research, understand why you're doing it. And my passion was really because my father died. I was doing it for the right reasons, versus just, I want to make $1. That was not the reason why I made it. It was just, my heart was in it. And I think he felt my heart was in it, and it still is in it, and it will always be in it. So I think when you do it that way, business, and you choose it for the right reason versus just for the dollar, mighty dollar, I think there's a big difference between somebody that does that, but through the heart.
And you know what I love so much about your story, Rhonda, is that, people often say, how did you do this? You know, they often talk themselves out of something before they actually take action to do it. And months, like multiple months, years can go by, and they've got this great idea, but it's hard for somebody to actually take that first step and actually put themselves up and be rejected, you know. So, you know, you were very fortunate to have that. Now I have to ask, what did you take? What did that prototype look like? I mean, did you have your bag designed? Did you actually have your product like all prettied up? Or like, what did that first prototype look like that enabled you to open up that door?
Well, I'm a strong believer of, you know, you got to take action. So I wasn't, I told the buyer at my meeting, I said, this is a prototype. I had, it was actually, well, anyways, the banana chips up there, I could grab them. But anyways, it was the natural banana chip that we have in the back. And it was in a black bag and with a sticker on it. So that's how it looked. I had my nutritionals done. And I said, you know, this is not the final bag, but, you know, do you like the concept? Do you like the idea? I had my name already registered. And that's really what I said. It's going to look better than what you see, but do you like the product? Because in graphics, you can always change a graphic, but you can't change a product. So I first had to, you know, get the buy-in from the product, and then hoping that it's gonna, if you're gonna put it on a shelf, it's gonna sell. So then you need to hope that people also, not only does a buyer or somebody that makes a decision in whether it be my business or somebody else's business, is it gonna succeed? And then what are you gonna do to help it succeed? So I had to answer some very difficult questions. He believed, because I also had a background in marketing and food. So he believed that I had a strong background that I could probably pull this off. Mm. And then, to be quite honest, a couple years after this, the same man that believed in me said, you know, there was a lot of people that I've met, but there was 3 successful people that I mentored. And I didn't think it was going to be me when he was saying this in a conversation. And he mentioned 2 others, and then he said, and yourself. So to me, that was the biggest honor, for somebody to say that I'm successful, because I didn't feel successful at the time, but he felt that I was successful. That meant the world to me. And it made me want to drive even further, like just the next, what could I do for my next mile?
So now I love to hear those stories. And as I sit here, and I've heard your story a couple times, and I love it every single time, but I learn something new each time I hear you tell the story. And the piece that I really love is how you had that male support her in your corner, who believed in you and was ready to invest in a woman. Yes. Yay, yay, yes. Yay. This is music to my ears, because that's why we've created the Universal Woman Owned certification, is to put women front and center, to have and give consumers number one, consumers the choice, and number B, that companies can invest in women, put their, you know, they can talk the good talk and say that they really support women, but let's actually take that to action, right? So I would love to know, you know, what your biggest challenges were getting to that point, or from that point moving forward. You've got the buy-in, so what are the biggest challenges after that, Rhonda?
Well, there's many challenges, Monica. There's so many. Well, money is always a challenge, no matter what part of business you're in. But you know, when I got the green light, I actually was nervous to even get that green okay light, because I felt, oh my God, am I going to succeed? Can I pull this off? What happens if the packaging doesn't turn out right? So our products are produced overseas. So our products are produced in Vietnam. So I had a language barrier, I had a distance barrier, I had just everything you can imagine. You know, when you bring a product overseas, when a container arrives, it can be stopped by the government. They can hold on to the product. It could be denied. Thank God it wasn't on our first go round of importation. But, you know, there's paperwork that had to be filled out. But the biggest challenge, I would say, is making sure the quality was consistent with what I developed and on an ongoing basis. When you develop overseas, you just, because you're not there, you have to have people in your place to oversee the production. So it's a big trust. Like when you have an organization and you hire somebody here, you can, if you don't like something they do, you could just either talk to them, have a meeting, pick up the phone. When you're doing something overseas, it's different hours. You have all these other barriers. And if a problem occurs, it's not a little problem, it's a huge problem. And it could cost thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So my biggest barrier was really just being so far away from my production. And unfortunately, we don't grow bananas here. So I had to choose a place that I could trust their production and the quality and all their certifications to produce what I wanted.
So did that require, Rhonda, did you actually go to Vietnam? Like, I mean, did you
Yes.
go there? Like, I think that's really important for people to realize. It's not like you can Google, hey, banana suppliers,
Yeah.
and pick me. Like, what was that like for you? How did you invest into this? Like, you invested everything into this.
Yeah, I invested everything. And, you know, it's interesting because when you go overseas, we're talking about your company where you support women. There's certain countries that do not respect women. So unfortunately, some of the overseas companies, you know, whether it be Asia, Vietnam, they don't really respect a woman in business. So I really had to prove myself to the organization that I chose, that I was going to be somebody that they could trust, that I had a business mind. So there was lots of challenges on that regard. But when I went to Vietnam, when I did the walkthrough of our production, because of my background of the food and manufacturing, I was making sure everything was at top notch, clean, a place I could trust. And it was a big challenge knowing that they don't respect a woman in business as much as a man in business. So I'm fighting even more over there, but in North America, at least they respect a woman in business, but we just don't have enough women-owned business that, you know, that are respected. So your organization is, I think, so like timely, and I do think that we need to look at more behind the brands and support the women as well as men that support her. But we need to support each other.
Yeah, beautifully said. And I love that you're sharing, like, we go way behind the brand on this because I think it's really important. I would love, I just visualize, you know, that logo on your new bag where it's at the front of the bag. And I know I got excited going into Safeway. I saw your product in Safeway and I'm like, I was talking to the cashier about it and I loaded up on 3 bags. Of course, my favorite are the chili sticks. I love that.
Yeah, these ones.
Those ones are my absolute favorite, the chili lime. And like I just eat them out of the bag. I think that, anyways, I've got lots of ideas for that. I think kids should have them in their snacks in the school bags and stuff like that, right? But I was so excited about this. So I took pictures and I tweeted it out. And then I was talking to the cashier. And I was just so proud that I could make one small move to support a woman in business just because I had that choice. So that was what really drove me to really push to develop our certification for women-owned businesses and of course women-led businesses, but to put that logo front and center with that W check mark so that people can say, I'm going to do my part to support women, tweet it out, know them, separate them, and take action. So I want to know from you, how does it feel to have, I mean, we don't have the bags out there yet, but how does it feel to be able to have that opportunity for people to know that Au Naturals is a woman-owned business?
I think it's a really big move for the future. people want to know where your products are coming from, whether it's certified organic or not, whether it's woman-based or not. I think people are reading more than ever before. They are researching more. They're going on the internet. We buy things, like consumer buys things based on what they like, not only what they like, but also who they like. And I think it's really important. I was once told that, people do business with people that they like. You don't do business with people you don't like. So I think it's really important to, it's really putting yourself out there to, for myself, my story is a very emotional story. And I never really shared it until really this last year, because it was just, I just didn't think anybody really cared enough or wanted to hear it. And I also didn't feel I was successful enough to even share the story. So I think it's my own mind that, fights this, the why about why did I do it? But I think it's really important, because I don't want people to buy my products. If we're just talking about my organization, first of all, I think it's important that they love the products, but they also believe in me and believe in the story. And, to me, it's an emotional story, and I want to help kids and people that struggle with health choices. And unfortunately, my mother suffered with depression. So there's depression in food, and, there's, unfortunately, with the COVID, there's a lot of people going into depression, losing jobs. So they you either turn to food or you fight against food. So to me, it's really important, the logo, which it's going to go right on the front here, somewhere around here. Okay, beside my peanut-free, gluten-free, and the plant-based vegan, just to show people how important it is, because I could have put it on the back, but to me, it's important to know that it's a woman certified company. And I've talked to lots of people about this, whether it's important, would it be important if you knew you're buying something to actually support a woman? And because most buyers that go into a grocery store, especially, are a woman shopper. I mean, there's lots of men shoppers too, but, mostly there's, like, I would say probably 70-30 would be women buying stuff versus 30% men. I might be off on the stats, but anyways, I think it's important that women support women. So I think your certification is key to the future.
And also just being able to know the stories behind the scenes for women is so important, because you're right. We buy and we do business with people that we like and we trust. And business is all about relationships. And I don't think that changes from anything else. And I think there's so many ways that we can help support women by getting visible. We need more stories, more action to support women. So I'm super excited for the road ahead. I can see, visualize all this scaling, growing, how this will magnify your voice and your visibility with the everyday consumer as well as key stakeholders. But how do you think that identifying your brand as women owned is going to be able to help you scale your business?
Well, as I was, I think, discussing a little bit earlier with you today before we actually did this interview, that there's large organizations that have, whether it be awards or just recognition for women in their own business. So I think it's going to be important for the organizations I sell to and want them to buy my products. They should know it's also women owned. So having, knowing that an organization supports their employees is extremely important. I feel it's, key. And having a buyer or like, if there is a woman buyer, I think that she would also want to know that it is a woman owned company. So I think it's going to help me, my organization. I think it's really important, not only just with the food, but in all aspects. I think it's really important that people know who really is behind the brand, because there's so many large organizations now that, you have to support the smaller organizations too, in order to survive in this world that we are living in today. So I think you could support your large organizations, but even more, we need the smaller businesses to thrive.
So my next question for you is, how can people, other than buying your product, support you?
I think it's just really, besides buying my products, even if you know somebody that has, a snack, they like snacks, and you might want to suggest, au naturals. I think just sharing on social media. I'd love if somebody would do videos for me. I mean, if they can take videos and have them, share my snacks with somebody, that to me would be extremely supportive, or doing, making recipes, anything like that. I mean, I like to get the public involved in what I do, and the more feedback I get from them just drives me, to look for new ideas. And I will be launching a brand new product. I'm hoping to. I just need a big enough buyer to look at it. But the jackfruit is a growth in the industry of a fruit product, and it's the largest fruit in the world. And we've made a jackfruit chip, and we're mixing it with our natural banana. So it's going to be it's a banana jackfruit chip, and they're very clean ingredients. And I'm really hoping that that's going to be launched in 2021. So.
Amazing. So I'm going to say right now we're doing our, behind the brand, and we're recording this, but we're also live on Facebook. So for all of you on Facebook right now, and with me now, I'm going to actually give you one example how we can support her. So we can do this. So here we are. I'm going to take a picture. Rhonda, do you want to hold up your bag?
Oh, okay.
These small things make a big difference. Okay, ready? So I'm going to take a picture. Let's do that. Okay, and I've got my lights on in the background. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweet that out. I'm going to include your handle in it, and I say, great behind the scenes episode with Rhonda Goldberg. Now, wouldn't it be great if the next time that one of our listeners is in the grocery store and they're like, oh my goodness, I just saw the interview with Rhonda, and they actually decided to purchase that product just to taste it out, or if they're like me that buys them all the time, I always tweet it out. I always take a picture and I hashtag it, and I include your Twitter in there, and I send it out. Somebody gets it a retweet, a like, whatever that is. But that is just one small example where it doesn't cost anything. You can buy the product, love it, do a little video, whatever you want to do. But those are really simple, fun ways that we can show our support for women in business. So I'm just going to give a couple ideas. I can't wait. I hope that if you are on Facebook Live or listening once this link goes out, that when you do go to your grocery store and you see the bags on the shelves, that you'll go, oh my goodness, I recognize that story and that brand. And I'm going to hashtag behind the brand, tag Universal Women's Network and Au Naturals in it, and let's see where that goes. I just want to do a test. I think that would be super helpful, and I think it's going to grow like wildfire.
That would be great. Just on a side note, so one of my customers we just landed before COVID was 7-Eleven, and I was super excited to know that we got into 7-Eleven. It's been quite successful there. We're doing really well there. So yeah, if anybody sees, I'll just do the plug if I can to the grocery stores. So we are at Safeway, Sobeys, certain co-op stores, Costco online, well.ca online, and 7-Eleven, Farm Boy for the people that are out east. And I think I said Sobeys, but anyways, those are to name, and Buy Lowe's and Save on Food. So you'll see us in different parts of Canada, but we're always looking to grow, and I'm really trying to get into the landmark cinemas as my next little project. So healthy eating and healthy snacks and movies is an important part of our vision. So
incredible. I see that actually coming. I think that there does need to be some healthy choices at the movie theaters, for sure. And I can totally see this brand growing. And I actually see it as little snack side for kids as well, like for lunches. Lunches would be fantastic for a little lunch snack in there, just something that they can snack on, right? So anyways, you're going to be busy, I have a feeling. busier than you normally are. And before we sort of wrap up, there's more questions I want to ask you. Of course, you talked about COVID. Before COVID, you were working on some things. So COVID hit, and I know that we had a little chat during COVID, but now we're coming on the other side of COVID. We're still in the pandemic. How has COVID impacted you and your business and really your plans for growth?
It was very interesting for us because we didn't sell a lot online as a company. We chose to try and get into the grocery stores. And we had a couple customers that we did, for online sales. And the interesting part, so we sell to Costco online, and our sales went from, 1 or 2 cases maybe a day to upwards of 30 to 40 cases a day online when the pandemic really hit. So people were buying more online, and it started eating into our regular production because we weren't expecting that. And then now it's all slowed down, and we're hoping everybody still will be buying online, too, because it's a nice, if you don't want to go to the grocery store. But we also saw, because we landed 7-Eleven before COVID, we found people going to smaller stores as opposed to the larger stores, picking up their groceries, whether it be, just everyday groceries or just snacks. People were snacking more because they were also eating at home more, and they were spending more time with their kids. So the snacking was on the rise. Better for you choices were also on the rise because, all the gyms were closed. So people didn't know how to maintain like a regular healthy weight without going to a gym. So I think they were trying to choose better for you snacks. So it impacted us where we sold more and then almost ran out of inventory. So we had to get our inventory up, and we never wanted to short any of our customers. The hoarding part was a little bit scary at the beginning because everybody started buying too much. And my biggest fear when that started was, we don't want to run out of food altogether. So we should not hoard in a pandemic. We should, think of others and buy what we only need, and hopefully, get through this together. So it really just impacted us kind of on a positive note, but also we had to increase production and then not increase it too much that we're stuck with all the production. So it was kind of hard to manage,
And I imagine dealing, overseas with your supplier was a little bit of a challenge as well, because how was COVID, how did they handle it, and how are they able to fulfill their service obligations to you?
That was a challenge, and other things were challenges because there was a drought and there was a short supply of produce. So nobody really talks about that kind of like environmental issues, but there was a drought, and so supply demand and prices went up, and we had to eat the increase on prices. So everything together was a mix of a wild storm for everybody.
Well, I can certainly say that you've managed to make your lemonade out of lemons, and you're moving ahead. I see lots of opportunities. Congratulations again on being certified with Universal Women's Owned. It's so exciting. I'm bursting with excitement, and I am. So I want to just leave with a couple extra questions. How important is it for people to support women-owned? How important is that, Rhonda?
I think it's, well, if you're doing a scale of 0 to 100, I'd say it's right up there. I think it's like you should be supporting women as much as possible. Would I say 100%? Well, we don't have enough women-owned to say 100%. But I think when you find a woman-owned company, I think your choice should be a woman-owned. There's only, from what I understand, only 16% that of businesses in Canada, if I'm not mistaken, that are women owned. Of course, women led it's a larger amount, but to be a woman owned is not an easy feat. And when you do find a woman owned organization, I think you should support that first, because without the women, well, we need men too, but we need women even more.
Well, and I myself am 100% women-owned company, and that's kind of I have to remind people that I'm the founder, the CEO of a women-owned company, and this is what I'm doing to help and support other women, because I'm in the trenches with all of you, and so I think that's the most beautiful thing is I have my pulse on kind of everything that's happening. So I really look forward to sort of building out that community where women-owned business owners and women-led can come together and really know other women that are going through the same struggles. It's like playing tennis with a better tennis player. There's always somebody that's a better tennis player than you are. And I think that's the way that it is in business as well. But there's so much knowledge to share. And COVID has made that gap even wider and harder for women to, number one, stay in business, number two, start a business, and number three, scale a business. So I think that, and we talk about this before, Rhonda, where it's like financing and marketing, which you need first. And I'm a firm believer that, as you know, you have to put your best foot forward. You have to market yourself. You have to market yourself before you get the cash, right? Just your example was like you went in, you had to show them a product. You had to put your product in front of someone before they said, hey, give me the order. Here's the order. And then you had to get the financing after it. So, I think marketing plays such a big piece of it. And so I'm really excited how we can support you and women-owned businesses across Canada and just make an impact that way. So thank you so much, Rhonda, for this lovely time. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that you want our listeners to leave with today?
No, I would just say, be safe, be mindful, help others. And if you can support women, I would highly suggest supporting a woman-owned business and getting involved in your organization, Monica. It's extremely inspirational. I've learned so much through you, and I'm so proud to be part of your organization. There's lots of great ideas that you've been sharing, and I think your ride is going to be an amazing ride to be on. So I really do think people should check the Universal Women Network out and talk to Monica about her organization, and hopefully people will support you too. I think we all need to work together. So without you, I don't even have my logo. So we need to brand things together. So I'm really excited, Monica.
Well, I'm super excited to have the network. And like I said, I live, eat, breathe it. This is all I do. And I'm 1,000% invested. And like you said, I come up with a lot of ideas. I've always been an out of the box thinker, a visionary. And, so I'm excited to be building and growing and scaling and helping serve and support female entrepreneurs and also the women in business, because I think there's a lot of knowledge that you've shared today that companies that actually have that support women-owned businesses also could glean some information from. So, in our Behind the Brands, I just want to reconfirm that, yes, there's stories of women-owned businesses, women-led businesses, but for companies with leaders within their organization, wow, there's lots of knowledge. And I think that the gap is wide. There's our corporate world and our entrepreneur world, but we have some amazing similarities, especially in the leadership role and about our motivation and about the support that we need to make our dreams a reality. So Rhonda, I really appreciate being so authentic on this interview, and thank you for sharing our first Behind the Brand. That was Rhonda Goldberg, founder and CEO of Au Natural Snacks, that you can find at a local grocery store and convenience store near you. And if they don't have it, ask the manager to put it on the shelf. How's that one?
Exactly.
Thanks, Rhonda. Well, have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.